Let's discuss with the California Democratic Representative Adam Schiff. He's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. And I want to discuss the stimulus with you in a moment. But let me get your thoughts first. The acting Capitol Police Chief now calling for permanent fencing around the U.S. Capitol. And just yesterday, a man was arrested near the Capitol, not far from the U.S. Capitol, with a gun, ammunition, and disturbingly, a list of U.S. senators and representatives. How dangerous is the situation right now?
Well, it's very dangerous, and we continue to get information about just how many threats are out there. I think that the acting police chief is responding to that, but many of us, I think, in Congress, Wolf, would frankly be very reluctant to see that permanent barrier between the representatives and the people. It may be necessary for some time, but I sure hope it's not permanent. I hope that we're going through a really dark period in our history, but that we can get beyond it and not have to, do our government work behind the barricades. It's just awful to see the necessary presence of so many troops, National Guard troops, guarding the nation's capital. I just would never imagine that would be necessary, and I hope that it won't be necessary indefinitely.
Yeah, one of the beautiful things over all these years, and I've been in Washington a long time, is that the whole area around Capitol Hill, people could just walk around. They could go up to the building, and now, I go around it every day just to see what's going on, including today. You see these fences that are not being moved, the barbed wire, the troops, the military vehicles. This is what I saw earlier today, and when I was driving around, it's heartbreaking to see this because the folks tourists especially, they come to Washington, they want to see the U.S. Capitol, they want to walk around, and they want to have an opportunity to meet with their representatives and their senators. One very disturbing thing, and there's so many disturbing things, Congressman, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said today, and I'm quoting her now, "The enemy is within the House of Representatives." Do you agree with her?
Well, sadly, I do agree. You look at some of these members, including Representative Green, who have threatened in social media prior to her election other members of Congress. You have members like her who have suggested that attacks against students, murderous attacks on high school campuses like at Parkland, were somehow faked, fraudulent, or false flag operations. And they're being rewarded by Kevin McCarthy with assignments on the Education Committee. The GOP leadership is becoming little more than a cult, and a dangerous cult. That photo you showed of Kevin McCarthy and Donald Trump, what Kevin McCarthy is saying in that photo is, I don't stand for anything, I don't care about anything, except my own personal ambition. And if I have to embrace someone who just incited an insurrection against the Capitol that resulted in multiple deaths, then I will do it. And that is sadly where the GOP leadership is at in Congress. And that's part of the reason why the Capitol looks like an armed fortress right now.
We're showing our viewers a picture that the Save America PAC, the Trump PAC, put out this picture. Let's put it up on the screen. Once again, down in Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, Kevin McCarthy and the former president there with a little bit of a forced smile, but clearly he went down there to try to make up for what he had said earlier. And it was pretty blunt what he had said earlier. He blamed Trump for the insurrection. And since then, he's been trying, Congressman Schiff, to walk back from that statement, which is pretty ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but, it is very consistent with Kevin McCarthy, which is nothing if not malleable to whichever direction the wind is blowing. And he thinks the wind is blowing in Donald Trump's favor, and he is willing to embrace that, notwithstanding the destruction that man brought to this country. It's just reprehensible. But that's where the GOP leadership is. And I don't know how many years it's going to take for that party to purge itself of Donald Trump. We need two functioning parties in this country for our system to work. Right now, we don't. I think we see that played out in the debate over the relief package and whether we can get a bipartisan package done. But right now, the GOP is still in the thrall of Donald Trump, notwithstanding how much death and destruction he has wrought.
Congressman Adam Schiff, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf.